What's up everyone? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Pokemon Black and White Wi-Fi battle. My opponent this time is Aerobeam. And this is the final battle of my initial YouTube series with my first Wi-Fi team. These guys were a lot of fun to play with. I really enjoyed it. But let's get into the battle. He leads with Scrafty. I lead with Spook, my Rotom. I'm going to predict him to go for some kind of setup move here. So I'm going to switch out into Bad Horse, thinking that he won't go for a fighting attack. If he doesn't set up, instead he goes for Crunch, which is awesome for me because that activates Justified and I get a free attack boost just for switching in. So now I see that he has a Gengar. I'm going to predict him to switch into that, thinking I'll go for a fighting attack. Instead, I go for Stone Edge, and Gengar does switch in and gets wrecked. There's no way he was going to be able to survive that, and Aerobeam loses his fastest guy immediately, which is awesome. So Cloyster comes in. Obvious Shell Smash is obvious, but I need to get it down to its Sash anyhow. Unfortunately, that's going to give him the opportunity to set up, and I know that I'm going to have to sacrifice something in order to be able to take care of this Cloyster. Looking at the rest of Aerobeam's team, unfortunately Spike, my Ferrothorn, is just not going to match up well against anything else he has. So I choose to sacrifice him. I bring in Spike here. He's going to survive the initial hit, but obviously he'll be slower than Cloyster and get taken out the next turn. But it wasn't in vain. Spike's sacrifice is going to allow me to get a safe switch in. I'm going to bring in Dozer here, and I'm going to be able to go for the Ice Shard and revenge the Cloyster before it can attack anything else. So that was a nice threat dealt with early, and it's a load off my back. Now Infernape comes in, and I want no part of that. So I'm going to switch out, go into Spook in case he goes for a fire attack. And instead he goes for close combat, which is going to do a lot of damage. And I wasn't paying attention here. I didn't see the Life Orb activate. So I'm going to be under the impression for half this battle that that Infernape is scarfed or choiced somehow. So since I think it's choiced, I assume I have a completely safe switch in to Gengar. Luckily he does go for close combat again. And now I'm going to set up a sub again, thinking that he's choiced so that it's going to be free. He does switch out. Scrafty comes in. I'm going to go for Focus Blast on this turn, and it's going to miss, of course, because it's Focus Blast, and it never, ever hits. So that sucks for me. My substitute goes down, and I'm not going to risk missing again since I want to keep the Shadow around. Thinking that he's probably going to go for a Dark move again, I'm going to go back to Bad Horse and get another Justified boost. So I've gotten 2 free boosts in this game. I'm not going to overpredict this time since I did last time, and I'm just going to go for close combat, thinking he'll probably stay in, assuming I'm going to try to trick him with Stone Edge again. And that's what he does. Scrafty gets destroyed by Bad Horse, and now whatever else he brings in is probably going to take a lot of damage. Unfortunately, Infernape comes back in, thinking that it was still scarfed. I switch out into the Shadow to avoid the fighting attack, and he does go for close combat. So now, again, I think I have an absolutely free sub here since he'll have to switch out. But instead he goes for Flare Blitz, and it's not until this point that I realize, oh, it's Life Orbed. Luckily for me, it didn't bite me in the butt like it could have. And I actually end up being okay for not paying attention. I see, though, that he's taking Life Orb damage and recoil damage, so I can stay in here and sub a couple more times, and then he'll easily be in the KO range of Shadow Ball. So I'm going to sub up again, and then I'm going to sub again on this turn. Aerobeam decides he's had enough. He switches out into Suicune, and I just facepalm here. I freaking hate fighting Suicune. It's such a pain. It never, ever dies. So, I know that I have to deal with it, though. I go for Shadow Ball, and luckily, I get a special defense drop right away as it Calm Mind, so its special defense is neutral, meaning I'll still be able to do a decent amount of damage on my next turn. But here, I'm going to decide that I do not want it setting up anymore. So I'm going to disable Calm Mind, which means he won't be able to keep boosting a special attack, and I'll be able to get a decent amount of damage on him with another Shadow Ball. Otherwise, he could have just kept setting up, and he probably would have swept the rest of my team. So that was the only option I had. Again, I just want to keep the pressure on it here. I want damage, so I stay in, go for Shadow Ball. It does roughly less than a third, and a boosted +1 Scald is definitely going to take out the Shadow. So now I'm going to bring Bad Horse back in and go for close combat. I wasn't sure how much damage it would do. I thought I had a small chance of being able to finish it off, but I'm not even close. I mean, that does way less than half. Suicune is just so bulky. I'm guessing it's probably running max HP, max defense. So it takes that hit real nice, takes out Bad Horse, and now at least it's low enough that I can go into Spook and threaten to KO with an electric move. So my obvious choice here is Volt Switch, since if he stays in, he'll die, and if he switches out, I'll get switch advantage. So he brings in Infernape, doesn't quite kill it since I don't have any special attack investment, but it lets me go into Dozer. And turns out he has Mach Punch, which is fine. I knew even if he did have it, I'd be able to survive one. And I take it fairly well, considering I'm weak to it. And Life Orb finishes him off. So now I know I'm in a really good position. All he has left is Suicune and Salamence, and neither of them can deal with Dozer. So Suicune comes back in. It's definitely not going to survive an Earthquake from that range, and that leaves him only with Salamence. So I see Intimidate activate here, but I'm not too worried, because even if this doesn't kill, I still have Cheese waiting in the wings, who's going to outspeed and be able to KO with Psychic. But it turns out it doesn't matter, because Dozer is a beast, and OHKOs that Salamence even with -1 attack. So that's going to wrap up the match as well as this series. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this team battle. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a sneak peek of my new team coming shortly, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.